Greetings. I am Dr. Paulina Van, the author of Regala Healing, an evocative approach for self care, self understanding, and inner healing. I have the honor of hosting this BlackDoctor.org show program, The Poetry of Healing. I want to welcome you wherever you're joining us from, all around the world. And I ask that you put it in the chat if you are okay with that. March is National Women's History Month, and the 2022 theme is Women Providing Healing and Promoting Hope. This recognition has been celebrated in the United States since 1987. And although informally, the courage and contributions of women have been celebrated all over the world, at least since early 20 since early 20th century. I'm sorry, I'm so excited about celebrating women. I just don't know what to do with myself. So, in keeping with this month's theme of honoring women who have historically provided healing and hope for individuals, families, or communities, today's program is all about the inner voice and how it impacts our lives as women. And for the men who have joined us today, how it impacts the women in your lives. And so I'm going to ask you to join me and embrace the goals for this session. I hope to describe essential characteristics of an inner voice. I hope that you will understand the evidence which explains the impact of the inner voice on our um, daily lives. Okay, viewers, guests, I keep forgetting to turn my phone off. And I'm going to do it right now, okay? Or at least silence it. Okay.
Interesting question.
Oh, Siri's talking to me now. So we're live. Everything, anything can happen, okay? So I'm talking about the goals. And I hope that you will apply practices to promote more enriching and health promoting inner voices so that we leave the session with additional self soothing, health promoting techniques that you may add to that toolkit of reflective practices that you are developing or that you already have. We always begin with a centering exercise to help us focus and collect our energy for this time together. It's a time for you, a gift for yourself. So let's take a moment and settle into this space so we can be fully present. We're going to practice heart math, heart focused breathing to open our hearts and the communication channel to our brain and mind. That is our focus today. Last month, I taught you about the critical communication between the heart brain and the head brain that manages our emotions. And so, this heart focused breathing is going to help us to open that beautiful heart of yours. So, for those of you who are not familiar with the practice, I'm going to give you a tip so that you'll be able to kind of um, fall into the practice with ease. So let me see if you can see me. Yes, you can. And if you put your hand over your heart or somewhere on your chest and imagine that your heart is taking a breath in when you breathe in through your nose and it's getting bigger, and then it's taking a breath out when you exhale through your mouth. So you inhale through your nose, heart gets bigger, and out through your mouth, your heart gets smaller. Okay. The other thing you can do that's helpful, you can put your hand, and I don't think you can see, but you can put your right hand over your heart and your left hand on your tummy. Okay. Just helps you to anchor. So I'm going to invite you to lower your gaze or close your eyes or even focus on a stationary object. Remember, when you're doing heart focused breathing, You can do it with your eyes open, and no one ever has to know what you're doing. Okay. So I'd like you to focus your attention in the area of your heart. Imagine your breath is flowing in and out of your heart or chest area, breathing a little slower and deeper than usual. Okay? And so it might help you to count so you can slow your breathing down. And five is, kind of typical number, but if you need to inhale 4 seconds and exhale 4 seconds, that's okay. For those athletic folks out there, if you can do it 6 or 7 seconds, that's fine. So let's take a couple more breaths in through the nose and imagining your heart getting bigger, and then out through your mouth, and your heart is contracting. And one more breath in through your nose, big heart, and out through your mouth. And now, I'd just like you to take a deep breath, just a normal deep breath, to notice you are here. Take one deep breath to notice how that beautiful body of yours feels. And now take one deep breath to enter this session. Well, you don't know because I need to share it with you. But I am so ecstatic about this session today. Yeah, I think about it. I'm loving the time with you each segment. But this one, I'll say, is a little more special because the connection between my inner voice and this Poetry of Healing program is immutable, undeniable. As I mentioned during the last program titled, Did Africans Meditate? And I hope you take a look at that. My purpose in life includes engaging with others in a way that promotes healing. And I come from a generation of folks who were blessed to do healing work. And although my ancestors may have passed down these gifts through oral histories, I have pursued formal education. And so I'm a Reiki master, a healing circles facilitator, a meditation and mindfulness practitioner and facilitator, as you know. And my research program focuses on coping and healing after pregnancy loss with an emphasis among women of color. I'm a Caritas coach, Caritas meaning love and care. And during that program, the Caritas coach program, I evolved from navigating the world with my head and transformed to living with an open heart. And in this transformation, it's during that transformation that led me to respond to my inner voice and bring to the world my book, Regala Healing. I am a Christian, so I believe God gave me the words to promote my healing and that of others by manifesting my traumatic life experiences and how I healed. If your spiritual tenets differ from mine, I offer that you use those sacred beliefs, your sacred beliefs, to relate to my story about the underpinnings of your inner voice. So let's talk about this inner voice. And you may have heard of it before, but under different labels. So during this time together, I may use inner voice and self-talk interchangeably, but there are 7 other labels or 6 other labels, total of 8. So you may hear internal monologue or internal commentary, internal dialogue, inner thoughts, inner speech, private speaking. So all those mean about the same thing. They're interchangeable. So that we are looking at this topic from the same lens, I'm going to give you a working definition of uh, self-talk or inner voice. And it's the silent production of words in one's mind. And it is a core concept of our mental lives. The inner voice is the result of certain brain mechanisms that cause you to hear yourself talk in your head without actually speaking and forming sounds. So what else? What else do we know um, and can just glean about the inner voice? The inner voice is thought to develop during childhood. As children acquire language skills, they also concurrently learn how to engage in self-talk during group play or solo play, like imaginary friends. Let me tell you, I recall having a whole family of imaginary friends, like parents, children, and even a dog. And they did all kinds of wonderful things that I wish I could do. Self talk is linked to a wide range of psychological functions, such as um, reading and problem solving and writing, planning, memory, self motivation. And even though researchers estimate that we spend at least half of our lives talking to ourselves, this can vary between people. Some people, including my husband, say they do not have any inner speech, while others experience an almost constant internal dialogue. I want to share with you some examples of how self talk, that inner voice, shows up. Okay. The most common form of an inner voice is verbal, when you essentially talk to yourself. For example, you may talk to yourself about issues that are on your mind. For me, I make a daily to do list mentally before writing it down. Another example is replaying instructions in your mind, such as when you're cooking, like, following a recipe in your head. You may also talk to yourself when you're preparing a speech or a presentation, when you play, in quotes, what you're going to say in your mind ahead of time. And I do that a lot. I want to bring my best self to you each time I see you. You may also play out a conversation in your mind when you're trying to solve a problem or before you have a difficult conversation with someone. When you read a book, you might hear your own voice going over the words. So pay attention the next time you're reading a book and see if you can experience that. The inner voice can also come in the form of having songs stuck in your head. I want to share this with you. I recall when I first heard the gospel song, It's Working by William Murphy. I'll tell you, for days and maybe even weeks afterward, I would sing the song over and over in my head. And I recall times falling asleep this way with the words. And I'm not going to sing them to you, but I'm going to say them to you. This is my season for grace, for favor. This is my season to reap what I have sown. Even reading them now, something special happens within me. There are so many benefits of having a positive inner voice, nurturing inner voice. There is evidence that people who talk to themselves tend to be more self aware and self reflective. Self self talk or that inner voice can also be inspiring and motivating. An example of this is when an athlete mentally prepares himself for a big game, when they psych themselves up. For me, I have this fear of driving over long bridges. And living in the Bay Area, I have to do it a lot. And this is what I do, I psych myself up by repeating, okay, in my head. Remember, this is just a freeway. It just happens to be over water. You can do this. And this is my mantra going over bridges. And you might say, why, where did that come from? Well, as a young teen, I almost drowned in the Coney Island at Coney Island Beach in New York. The ocean almost swept me away. And so water kind of makes me feel a certain way, especially if I can't walk in it. I want to briefly touch on negative thinking and may revisit it more deeply in a future segment. And although the inner voice may help us solve problems, it can also put us down, which can lead us to the development um, of having symptoms of anxiety, depression, eating disorders, and many other forms of mental illness. Today, I will not address self talk related to mental illness, such as auditory hallucinations or intrusive thoughts. I will defer that to professionals with expertise in that area. Let me give you just a few examples of negative thinking. For a balanced approach, I just want to spend a little time on that negative inner voice. Your inner voice may be critical of your past choices and future plans, or have you, the way you're just navigating your life right now. Okay. And with many changes brought about by the pandemic, we are challenged to do and be different in this world and in relationships. So, do these phrases sound familiar to you? Like, this is an awful place, or the world is an awful place right now, and I can't cope with this any longer. Another experience may be the imposter syndrome, and that may be prevalent. So, when you're taking on a new job, or a new job in an entirely new field, or enrolled in a degree or training program to garner new skills, your inner voice may say, they're going to find you out. Um, and I could be fired or dismissed from this training program. So, trying to stop these thoughts or ignore them, well, it's not going to be helpful. These thoughts will usually rebound, and upon their return, you'll have even more trouble getting rid of them. There is an approach that will help, and that is associated with meditation and mindfulness practices. And so, how do we promote more enriching, health promoting self talk, a more enriching, health promoting inner voice? When it comes to what strategies promote healthy self talk, I found overwhelming consensus among the experts and about the beneficial role of meditation. And the perspectives on healthline.com were invaluable and affirming as I prepared to talk with you today. Mindfulness and meditation can strengthen your ability to focus your awareness on the present instead of getting sidetracked by a negative inner voice. So, I'm going to go over some strategies that you can practice individually or in combination with one another, and they're familiar to you. Using the breath, our precious breath. We opened our session with heart math, heart focused breathing, breathing into the heart to activate the heart intelligence to soothe and comfort us, yet using the breath alone, breathing in and out through the nose and out through the mouth slowly, can bring and promote a positive self talk. The next is staying in the present. This can nurture our self talk in very positive ways, and I have some suggestions and strategies for you. And so I ask you to be open when I mention these. So the first one is unplug. Shut off that computer or phone for a designated amount of time each day and spend time in a single activity. Now, I recommend quiet time. That's my code word for meditation, but just quiet time or doing something that nourishes you, like reading listening to music, sitting quietly and breathing, or perhaps taking a power nap. So you always have your breath available to you. Eat mindfully. Treat yourself to one of your favorite meals. Try to find the joy in each bite and really focus on how the food tastes and smell and feels in your mouth. And I think if I can get it together, we might have a segment on mindful eating. That should be fun. Get outside. Take a walk outside, even if it's just a quick lap around the block. Yesterday, I did it. I just took a walk down the hill and back, and just taking inventory of what I saw along the way, noting how my senses were stimulated, the temperature of the wind, and it was kind of cool. And just feeling the sun on my skin or the sounds, listening to the sounds that I heard. And then here we go, it all together. There is meditation and mindfulness practices. And I have one this morning that I'd like to guide you through. And it's by Katie Kremotis. And I got it from the Women's Meditation Network.com. And this meditation will give you the space to connect your inner voice so you can deepen your intimacy with her. And I'm calling the voice her, and continue to cultivate a trust in her and therefore a trust in yourself. A trust in the voice who will always speak your truth with love. Connect to your inner voice. She's always speaking to you, always directing you to, where to go, what decisions to make, and how to navigate through your life, reminding you of what you need and creating the most beautiful dreams of what's possible for you. Sometimes she whispers, sometimes she screams, but always she's speaking to you. Your inner voice represents your true self, free from ego, free from expectations, free from fear. She's your guiding light. So let's begin. And I'm going to invite you to close your eyes or lower your gaze and relax into a comfortable position and allow your body to adjust as needed, whatever you need. So you can lay down, lay back in your chair, stand up. And I'd like to focus your attention on your breathing. I want you to imagine that every out breath settles you deeper into your position and slows you down. See if you can breathe in just a little deeper and breathe out just a little longer, expanding your breathing and slowing down your body naturally. So try it. Today is a practice of being, of simply sitting with yourself in the present moment so that the spaciousness where your inner voice lives can be revealed. There's nothing for you to do, nothing for you to seek out. It's all here within you in this moment. Just breathe. Perhaps your mind is trying to solve a problem, trying to make sure this meditation works, longing to feel longing and to feel connected to yourself as you notice any thoughts or emotions arise. Just notice them. Allow them to pass, bringing yourself back to your breath, breathing in and breathing out. This is the doorway to your inner voice, this present moment, this breath, this space that exists within you. When you release your thoughts and emotions, be here and listen for a bit. If there's guidance you're seeking, decisions you're pondering, emotions you're managing, imagine them being released from you every time you breathe out. And just allow yourself to be here right now with no agenda, no expectations, no attachment to the outcomes, no desires, just deep presence. This is the way in, letting it all go. Feel that spaciousness expand. Feel the softness. This is your home. This is you. Be here and connect to your inner voice. Perhaps imagining yourself bringing your hand to your heart, tapping into your true self. Be here for a few minutes. Every time, everything you want is already here for you, inside of you. All you have to do is be here and listen. She's always here to guide you with never ending love. True joy begins here. And as I close, and you can keep your eyes closed or your gaze lowered, I wanted to share with you a poem from my book, and it's appropriately named or titled My Inner Voice. And it's a poem that describes the transformation of my inner voice as a result of opening my heart, being quiet, being in the presence. And for those who have the book, you can refer to it later. And it's called Inner Voice, and it's on pages 140 and 141. And so here it is. My inner voice is soft. My inner voice wants to be boss. My inner voice is wise. My inner voice comes without disguise. My inner voice offers direction. My inner voice detects my rejection. My inner voice is loyal. My inner voice wants me to be royal. My inner voice has a strong ego. My inner voice won't hit me like a torpedo. My inner voice is engaging. My inner voice is ingratiating. My inner voice is gently persistent. My inner voice eloquently averts resistance. My inner voice disappears when it senses my fears. As I follow my own way and I stumble and go astray, I miss and yearn for my inner voice. I truly want to thank you for joining me today. And I ask that you join us every first and third Sunday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, right here. Leave your comments, share, subscribe. Um, we just love to hear from you, and I will respond to your comments. As always, love and light to you, and I'll see you next time.